Okay, so we downloaded Visual Studio Code and we learned how to use Visual Studio Code, and we learned also how to use the print built-in function, how to print a result. And we have learned that we can just print values from here. Now, as you can see, fundamentals of Python is actually the name of the project. Project means, yeah, the folder that has everything. So I have to go to week 1, CD, and tab, and then I can run the files, and I have Python, then test. Yeah, to see the files, you have to click over here, right? But if you don't have this also, instead of dragging this up, if you don't know how to do that, or if it doesn't work, you can come here, just in this folder, open in integrate terminal. It just open for you, and then you can run the files. Now, for instance, we can run Python and hello world. I am using the tab to complete the file name, and it just ran this code. Or if you don't like also this, instead of just opening this or this, maybe you can just click over here and it works. And maybe if you want to run this file, and just it runs for you. Great. Now let's learn Python basics. Basics of Python. Py. So I'm just giving name for each file based on the topic I am going to cover. So we have this hash. Do you know this? The hash symbol, we call it a comment. It's a comment, okay? So if you run it, if I run, nothing, because the above statement is a comment. So as you can see, but this will be printed out, right? Of course. Yeah, so anything you write will not be executed. For instance, if you say something like this, I maybe to write, or no, to get an output from Python, you need to use a print function, built-in function. So this kind of statement or remark actually allow us to make our code readable. So as you can see, I can make this down. So I'm using now the print. Let's see how print works. Yeah, so I'm now using the print. Actually, a print, you have to have these parentheses. Does print takes more? Yes, more argument. Yeah, first, second, whatever, maybe number 2021, or maybe my age 150, or other data type, true. We will come to data type soon, false, or maybe list of items, papaya, mango, maybe. Now you can see that list of what? List of items. You may feel that a kind of fruity, right? It smells like fruity here. Papaya, mango, avocado or something. And if you just click, it just print out. So this print function is so generous that it just takes everything. But I will want to talk about the purpose of comment. The purpose of comment is actually to make your code readable. Yeah, readable. And now, for instance, I can say another. Python has many built-in functions. Example, print. Yeah, print. And print len input round it is. Now I can use again print. I love the print function. And then yeah, so by now everybody should be should know how to use the print function. Yeah, at least you should know how to write hello world, right? Hello world, like this, because I will come to you soon and I want you to write that for me. Great. Now let's go to another file and make use of the different built-in functions, because I don't want to write everything in one place. Great. Now I want to write built-in functions.py. Did we use already built-in functions, guys? You tell me.
Yes, the print function.
Yes, great. We have used the print function. The print function is a built-in function that takes many arguments. Not one or two, it takes many arguments. Arguments means anything we put as input. And it could be number whatsoever, right? Yeah, so what is this? This is actually a comment. Anything that I write is like here, it's like a note also. Now let's see step by step. Now first, let's see print, and then we see length, and then we see input, and then see round. But do you have to really remember all this? Yeah, through process you will learn them. Okay, but these are some of them. So I can use print. I love using print because it shows me what's happening. It rhymes, right? Okay, yeah, it really rhymes. I love using print because it shows me what's happening. Oh yeah, great. So if you just write, click over here, and you see I love using print because it shows me what's happening. Now you have used the print. Now let's see len. Len is actually to check the length of a string. We call this, by the way, guys, string. Any text, we call it string. Okay, for instance, print my name. This is my name, the longest name ever used. And oh yeah, it's printed out. But maybe if I just know the length of my name, I can actually print it like this. So first, let me just check it manually. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 8. 1, 2. Yeah, it's 8. 8 characters. Oh yeah, it is. Maybe how about if I write print and then length of some other word, maybe if I say eyeball, it's so eyeball, I can see 3 characters here, 4 characters, 7, but the empty space also will be counted. So it's going to be 8 characters again. Oh yeah, so we have used this, the len built-in function. Built-in functions are functions available for you to use. You don't have to worry about. Someone already built them, so you can make use of them. Can we add another parameters? No, it just take only one argument, okay? Just one. It's not like print. Yeah, great. And also we can use, actually, if we have a kind of a list, something like this. I have now tomato. How about potato? And potato in the cart, in the list, in the to-do list or shopping list whatsoever. And the milk. How many items do you have in your list? You tell me, guys. It's so easy to count.
3 items.
Yes, and Python also knows that it should give us 3 items. Great. So we have used the len. Now, this is good enough already. And we have this input. If I say input, and then if I say enter your name. And now if I run this, oh yeah, I can say yes. But you know, we have to, after we just put this after, we have to save the name. To save that name, we need a variable. And I want to store it in a variable called name. Or maybe first name. So now we introduced a new terminology called variable. So what is variable? Variables are actually a place where to store data. So it allows to store data. So now whenever I just, then I can print first name, and the first name should give me anything we put in here. First, let's run. Now, this input allows you to ask data from the user, enter your name. Then when I just put this value will be saved in here. And now I'm printing it, so I have to see it downstairs. Yeah, I have to run it again. As you can see, yeah, I see it here. Great. Can I get age? Yes, why not? Input, enter your age and some space, or you don't have to. And now let's run. I can just use this. Why not? Yeah, and the age 250. Yes, I'm older than you thought, but I think I have to print also the age. Okay, great. 250. Yeah, so now we have used the input built-in function. Maybe this, now we can just comment this out. I showed you this commenting. Sometimes if you don't want to run your code, you can also comment it like this. I think Control Shift and I have this control, and I can comment everything like this. Yeah, but another way of commenting is multi-line comment, better way, like this. And don't do that. I can do some control. Yeah. So you need this. Maybe I think I have to show you separately. Anything we put here is a comment. Multi-line comment. As you can see, we've been using this as a 1-line comment, but this, if we use this 3 quote, it's a multi-line comment. So that means it will not be executed. Yeah, so let's run again. Now, since I don't like this actually input, it's asking me now and then, I can comment it out and I will not be bothered. Now all my code is actually commented out and I don't have anything. Let me just run this again. But why is it asking me now and then? After this, there's nothing that bothers us. Okay. But now let's move on to the round of 9.81. What do you think the rounding of 9. What? Print round 9.81. What's the rounding of 9 point, like a proper rounding, you know, a fair rounding? What would be the fair rounding of 9.81?
10.
Yes. For me, it should be. Now let's do another print round and then 3.14. What would be the fair rounding of this? Of course, 3. And now, of course, let's do round. And again, maybe if I have 2.77, what would be the fair rounding of this? Again, 3.
3, yeah.
Now print the rounding of 2.51. What would be the rounding of this?
250.
I'm afraid it might be 2. Oh, is it? Oh yeah, actually it should be 5. Yeah. How about, this surprised me all the time. Yeah, as you can see, if it's just a 0, it downs, but at least if it has 1, it go up. That's great. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Yeah. So that it's a fair rounding. Great. So now we have seen how to use built-in functions. Of course, if you come to this and this 10 days of Python, you can see different built-in functions. A voice is coming, guys. You may turn off your webcam or mic. Absolute value, this input, open to open a file, stir. Actually, I have to select some of them again, and we have to see them. Okay, we have, for instance, this the absolute value is very good, and int stir. And another to see, we can see enumerate all some of the difficult one later because it's so hard for you to understand what's happening. And may be sum is so easy, sum and min and max. And of course, I should have said type. Okay, and bool. We have seen len and range. Yeah, I can also use ID. ID is so strange. Dir is also good. The reason why I'm selecting, guys, some of the methods should be learned later because it doesn't make sense now. Okay, so now what we are learning, guys, as you have seen, we've been looking at some of the methods, the functions, built-in functions. We know now how to use print. We know how to use len. We know how to use round. We know, input. We know how to use round. Great. Now let's use absolute value. For instance, if you want to know the absolute value of -5, I think everybody knows, right? What's the absolute value of -5? 5. Just the positive, okay? And then sometimes we want to change number. If you say, for instance, this 2, this is not a number, it's a string, guys. It's not a number, it's a string. If you do this, it will be wrong. Can we do this? No, we can't, because this is a string and this is a number. It's wrong, as you can see. Now Python gave me it gave me a feedback. Trace back, go to line number 28, and this line can only concatenate a string, not int. So this one is string and this one is an int. So I have to change this to an integer first. How do I change it to an integer? So like this. And now I am expecting what? What am I expecting from this now, guys? You tell me.
4.
Yes, it should be 4. But again now, print 2 plus 2. And if I do again, oh, it's error. Now my idea is not just to change this one. Instead, I want this to be string. And then if I change this string, actually I am going to concatenate them. Concatenate means like connecting them. So it will be 22. Yeah, 22. This is not a number, by the way. It's just, you can call it whatever, 0, 2, 2, and whatever. So it's a kind of, it could be a zip code, yeah? So we are concatenating this. So I changed this first, the integer to string, because I am concatenating this because to concatenate hello plus world. And this is actually concatenating hello world. But as you can see, there's no space. If you want to have space, you can add like this. And again, hello world. Great. Now we have learned the absolute value, the int, the string. Sum actually is a way to print the sum of numbers. Sum, and then if I do 1, 2, and 3, the sum of 1 to 3, I think you may expect 6, right? Yeah, but it says, no, this is not how. It should be a list. It should be a list. Now I should get 6. Great. Now, how about if I use the mean and the max? Mean of 1, 3, 4, 10, and minus 10. What's the minimum number in these numbers? I think for me, I can see that
minus 10, yeah.
Great, minus 10 is the least. And as you can see, Python is so smart and it gave us the minimum number. You can write it as in like this or as in a list. The mean actually works so fine in a different form. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so let's see again from, yeah. And also you can also find the maximum. What's the maximum in this list? For me, the maximum will be 10. Yeah, the maximum number. Oh yeah, great. Now let's see type. What the type does is actually, so far, as you can see, we've been working with text. For instance, if I say print and my name, it's actually a text, right? And the type should be string. So how do we check it? Type is another method, and then I just give, so I'm expecting what? A string, let's see. Yes, great. How about if you check type of 2021? Is it a number or a string? What are you expecting?
That sounds like a number.
It's a number, so it's the number is integer, as you can see. Now, if you say print type, and if you write 9.81, what are you expecting? And then it should be a float. We call it these decimal numbers, a float, yes. And then if you give print type, and then again, 1 plus 1j, it's a complex number. We don't deal with complex number, but just to show you that Python identify also complex numbers. It says complex number. Great. Print type, and if I give the for a Python, hey, 1, 2, 3, I have a list of numbers over here, and Python tell me that, oh, that's the list, right? Have you seen? Now I have been using this type to identify if it's a string or if it's a number, an integer, if it's a float, or if it's a complex number, or if it's a list. And even sometimes we can also put numbers like in, we call this tuple. Tuple is something, if you write like this, we call it tuple, but you don't have to worry about that. It's a different format and we will cover that. Tuple. Really? How about if we change this one to a curly bracket and we call it set? Set's a collection of items, right? You learned this in math, this in your mathematics lesson, yeah? Long time ago, maybe in elementary or your junior high school, set, yeah. And maybe you can have also a dictionary. A dictionary is something like that. Hey, name, and if the name is like somehow, by the way, guys, we will go through everything step by step later or in another lesson. So this is just an introduction. So to see how this type is used, yeah, the type is dictionary, yeah. So type is actually, maybe I can show you, for instance, the dictionary. Dictionary means something, for instance, hey, what is sana in English? We call it in a word, right? What is a talo in the talo for, yes, it's a house, right? So something like that. And maybe how about a person or a man? Maybe mies, right? And it's going to be man. Yes, something like that. So this is actually a dictionary. Is it only for language or something? No, for different reason we use dictionary structure, data structure, okay? So it's a dict. Now let's move on to Boolean. Okay, we can print type. If I say 1 is greater than 0, guys, we didn't do comparison before, but anyway, I'm introducing this. Is 1 greater than 0?
It is.
Yes, it is. So that means it is true. The value is true. And that true value is going to be Boolean type. So the type is Boolean. Have you seen? Or you can just check print type, the type, just what type. And if I say true, it's true. The term true by itself is a Boolean. And if you say print type, false is a Boolean, and anything you get after you compare something is also the length of my name is this is greater than the length of the Python. Is that true? Let's check now. I have to count it. It's 8, I know it, but this one is 1. 1, 2, 3, 6. So that's true, actually. This is true, and it's a Boolean. Oh, yeah, it's true first. First, I get this from this true. Let's see the value. True, great. And you can check in the value to Boolean, but why you care? Just now, I think we're about range. Oh, yeah, range. Let's talk about range. If you say range and put 10, that means actually you get range of numbers. Range of numbers between 0 and 10. Yeah, this is very powerful. So this actually has 0 as in starting, and the end is 10, and the stepping is 1. That means it increased by 1. And to know the list, actually it's better to use the list function. So we have this list also now, so we have to use that. The list allow us to create list. Now if you go 0 to 9, but we can also start, we don't have to start from 0, we can start from 1. 1 to 9, but it doesn't include the last one. Can we increment by 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4? We can also increment by 2 if we want. Okay, So you don't have to really worry about this. We will come later. And then ID. ID is just a kind of a fancy function there, and it generates random ID for you. Just ID like that is good enough. Oh, but I think you can just pass any random number here. For instance, 0. It just print something, yeah. Or just 1, just to generate some random number for you. Okay, great. And there are some, for instance, if you want to know about something there, and you can pass there. For instance, you write some string. Okay, what's the how to deal with a string? Okay, whatsoever. And then if you write this, you get this. That is because this is a string, and it gives you methods related to string. And now even this there is also will not be so clear for you. No, don't worry about it. For the time being, these built-in functions are good enough for you. And if you don't get them all at once when I'm teaching right now, don't worry. If you know how to use print and len for the time being, that's good enough. But it's just the exposure is good enough, okay? And I hope you can also go through it again, and that make things much clearer, okay? Yeah, I think this is good enough, and I have to stop the recording, and we have to move on to variables and data types. I think first it's better to talk about data types.